Hello, you guys. All right, I want you to picture this, you guys. So you have a booked, solid online tutoring business with parents who are just, they keep referring you over and over again. And when you begin tutoring, this is the image we start with, right? We almost start with like the end in mind, like this is what we want. And we put in a ton of work and a ton of time. And then all of a sudden, a month goes by and we don't have the results that we want. 2 months goes by. Maybe we don't have the results that we want. A couple of years goes by and we don't have the results that we want. So you may have been putting in this kind of work, this kind of effort, and you wonder, why do other people keep saying that it's so easy tutoring and how lucrative it is and how much money you can make? You begin to start to think that you have been misled. And today I'm going to share with you guys how it really does pay to persevere in your online tutoring business, because there's a lot of thoughts that we don't think about that are going to affect us over time and then also kill our results. So I want to personally welcome you guys for joining me. We've got people from all over the world today just coming on in. We've got Robert from Maine. We've got Vivek from India, and Elizabeth from Ohio, and Avita from Greece. I want to personally welcome you guys for being here. Mavis is in Ethiopia. How cool is it that we get to connect with people from all over the world? This is some really, really cool stuff, you guys, and I'm so excited that you guys are here to join us, because a lot of times we can put in time into our business and we don't get the results in the time frame that we would like them. So I'm really curious for you guys. Have any of you ever thought it would be easier to get a job? So I'm curious, put down inside of the chat comment, have you ever thought it would be easier to get a job? I know the thought has crossed my mind on several occasions. And then I started thinking about, well, what would it be like if I did go back to teaching in the school system? And I quickly am reminded as to why I want to continue to put my work, time, and effort into building this online tutoring business. So I definitely would love to be able to hear from you guys what your thoughts are. So honestly, I think that this is a really important topic, because people feel like they're being misled on how to start their online tutoring business. They just think that if they start putting their names on different platforms and different tutoring lists, that they're automatically going to start getting clients coming on in. And this is exactly why I created the 50 plus ways to start your online tutoring business, because I didn't want you to fall flat on your face with thinking that there's one best way to be able to get students, because there's a lot of different ways to be able to get students. So if you haven't downloaded that, please scroll on down into the chat, click on it, into the description, click on that and download it, because it's going to give you some different suggestions on ways and things that you can do in order to be able to do it. And here's the thing, a lot of people quit before they start getting the results that they want. And I don't want that to happen for you. I want you to be able to persevere through it all, because this is important to you. You didn't have this idea just on a whim. There was this intuitive feeling inside of you that was driving you to really want to be a part of this process and make money by teaching, tutoring from home with your cup of coffee in hand, your computer in front of you, and maybe you've got other family members that are home with you too. Maybe you're homeschooling, or maybe you're a parent of somebody who of young children, right? And you're like, this would allow me to be a better mom, a better wife. And you're like, I'd be able to travel around the world, and I'd be able to do all of these other things that I don't have the opportunity to do when I have a regular job. So here's what I want you guys to remember is, I don't want you to quit before, as they say, the miracle happens. All of a sudden amazing things begin to happen. And what I teach within my community is, what are the bazillion ways that you could try that actually work to get students, right? What is it that I can be doing to get myself out there so that people know who I am and they can begin hiring me. And the other thing that I've created is this whole entire idea of community. Now, you guys that are inside of the Ultimate Support Group for Online Tutors, you've already started to kind of experience this, started to experience that, hey, there are other tutors that are just like me that are kind of going through this process. And if you haven't joined that free group yet on inside of Facebook, definitely join it. It's called the Ultimate Support Group for Online Tutors. But it's this idea of we are not alone and we don't have to compete. We can work together in collaboration. And that is going to actually continue to keep us motivated to keep taking right action in our business so that we can get the amount of students that we want. And so we've actually had 2 new members that we got to welcome inside of our Insider Secrets Club, which is our special community of tutors that they know they really want to do this as their, as not just like a part-time job, but more of like, this is what I really want to do. Like, this is what I want to put up my time, my effort into building, is this amazing, incredible business. And maybe I even grow it to the point where it's not just I'm tutoring one-on-one, but maybe I'm also adding group classes, and maybe I'm creating courses, and I'm really creating for myself an empire of ways to be able to make money, not just for trading my time for dollars, but also for, creating other resources and tools that are going to benefit my ideal students. And that is, really, 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 really cool to be able to do that. So here is the first thing that I want you to know. If you are trying to do this all by yourself, you may start feeling the pressure to quit earlier than if you're doing it with a community. With a community, you're constantly being blasted with like new ideas, things you can try, solutions to problems. But when we're in isolation, we have a little bit less of that grit to kind of push us through when those negative thoughts come through. First, we need to be able to identify what those thoughts are that are kind of coming through our head and then move from there. And here's the thing. So this is the first main point, you guys. Any failure that you encounter in your online tutoring business is going to chip away at your confidence and your self-belief. So let's say you put out a buy-sell trade ad and nobody bites. All of a sudden, you just might be thinking, well, I'm no good at making ads to be able to get, students to come my way. You might think, you know what, the market is just too saturated. There's just too many other tutors that I'm competing against. You might start thinking, is this lucrative? I mean, really, are people really, can this really be a business? Now, I'm curious. I know we have all had one of these thoughts that have gone through our head. You've had a failure and it's kind of chipped away at your self-belief. And right inside here, Rob just mentioned that if he didn't have this community, he would have already quit. Because again, it's like you just don't know where to go. You start kind of getting lost. Like you need the guidance of those people that came before you to know where to go and how to navigate and do all that kind of stuff. There are so many confidence killers, Joe. It is so true. And there's so many ways in the beginning when we're starting a business, we just think, well, I'm really good at tutoring, so this should be really easy. But we don't take into consideration that I have to learn a whole new thing that people go to college for, right? Like people go to college to learn how to run a business. And I have to kind of like learn all of those strategies and skills in order to start really bringing in the students that I want to be able to bring into my business. And so it is really important that, number one, it's not that I need to go back to school to be able to learn all that stuff, okay? I don't want anybody to think that that's what you need to do. You absolutely do not. You can learn everything online that it is that you need to be able to learn in order to build a successful online tutoring business. I want you to realize that there are negative thoughts that are going to go through your head, and we need to be able to battle them. We need to ask this question. Is it true? Is that true? So let's say I had the thought inside of my head, there's absolutely no students out there that want to be able to do online tutoring. Let's say that was the thought that I had. I'd have to say, is that true? And if I do know of somebody, you're like, wait, I know Joanne Kaminski. Joanne's completely book solid with her online tutoring business. So no, that is not true. So it's really being able to kind of reframe that and really think through, okay, is that true? Here's a negative thought that might go inside of my head. Nobody's serious about school anymore these days. You know, with Corona, school is getting put on the back burner. Nobody cares about actually investing in their education. Is that true? Again, I'd have to say no, because there are tutors out there that are completely book solid. So that's not a true thought that's going through my head. Mindset is everything. Exactly, Beth. That is exactly what it is. Mindset is everything. So that is really step one to being able to persevere. If you can battle the thoughts that go through your head, that's step number one. We all are going to have setbacks, right? Never have we ever seen a baby crawling and, you know, they're at that point where they're like ready to start to walk, right? We've never seen one of these babies like they get on up and they take that first step and they fall. It's very rare. I mean, I can't think of one situation where a baby has gotten up, took that first step, fallen, and not gotten back up. Like, we're built with this resilience. But our thought process, see, they don't have these thought processes. They're just like, they only see the goal. The goal is, I want to walk like those little humans around my house are doing. That mama and that papa thing, they're walking on their feet. I want to do that. So they see what it is that they want to be able to do, and they slowly keep getting back on up every single time. It's amazing how quickly this whole entire process takes for them. It's like less than a month. As soon as they start like lifting themselves up, they start furniture walking, right? And then all of a sudden they get brave enough to take a step away from the furniture, and then they fall, and then they get back up and they start furniture walking again. And, you know, they're getting the movement in their body and they're doing it. And then all of a sudden now they're walking, right? They don't have those negative thoughts. Oh, I fell. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I can't do this. You know, not everybody learns how to walk. You know what? Maybe it just wasn't in the cards for me. Maybe those other people, those two humans in my house, that mom and that dad, and those other kids in the house, maybe they were just lucky when they learned how to walk, and I'm just never going to be able to get it. So that's something to kind of think about is, you know, they don't have those thoughts that pull them down like we do in our business, right? We all know that we need to get back up and we need to try again and we need to do new things and we need to keep persevering. And I love the play on words here today. It pays to persevere. Trust me when I say this, because right now, a lot of you guys are just seeing what is happening right now with my tutoring business. What is happening? So I can only see right now that I have, let's say I had only 2 students. I only see that I have 2 students. I don't see the future where I have so many students that now I need to start weeding them out. And now I need to start really cleaning up some of the processes and the systems that I have, right? I can't see that far. All I can see is I have 2 students and I want 3. I have 3 students and I want 4. Like, that's like the process where I'm at. And then when we can't get that 3rd student, when we can't get that 4th student, we start tearing ourselves apart and we can't see ahead far enough that if we keep persevering, those students are inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. What happens is we just forget and don't realize what steps it is that we need to take. We get lost on the journey and we allow our brain to take over and to make us believe these thoughts that are not true. So step 1 is to be able to get through that negative clutter that goes through your head, reframe it, and phrase it in a way that is true. All right. Second point. What guarantees you of success is getting up after every fall. Determination and persistence means you will fight for your dream despite the temptation to give up. I think a lot of us sometimes don't have a strong enough why, or we don't have that why in front of us. That why, there's a book called North Star, and you can follow that North Star, right? You can follow that why. Like, why, what is your why? Maybe you absolutely love teaching, but the politics in the school system got to be too much, and you just want to be able to teach and help kids on your own without all of that headache. We talked about, for me, my why was being able to have that work-life balance. I wanted to be able to be a stay-at-home mom and be able to make money from home doing what I love. And in that process, I had to actually find a couple of things I didn't love because I couldn't even think further. I couldn't think out long term, how I could bring teaching into online other than working for a school. That was all I knew was like, okay, there are these online schools. This is back in 2010, right? There are these online schools, and I can absolutely, I could get a job working for that, but I'm still in the same position then at that point. Do I really want to work for an online school? No, I really didn't want to work for an online school. So I actually tried a couple of other businesses. I tried 5 other businesses. I failed at all of them. And one I was so miserable at. Like anytime I had to make a phone call for this business, like I had this sinking pit feeling in my stomach. I just want you guys to know, if you've got that feeling in your stomach about any of the jobs that you're doing right now, that's exactly what I had. And that is not where you're meant to be. You're not just trying to make money so that you can pay the bills. You want to be able to have a job that you are absolutely going to love, that you get to wake up every single day and pinch yourself because you're so excited to do what it is that you do. That when you look at your calendar and you see what you got to do for the day, you look at it and you're excited because you're like, look at this. I get to do this today. Woohoo! That's what I want for you guys. But we have to have that why, because there are going to be times in our business when we don't have that strong enough why. We're not reminding ourselves what that why is. For me, like the why of not going back to the teaching world was pretty strong. And there were times when my husband wanted me to go back and he'd ask me to go back. And I'd be like, no, I am not going back. It's not happening. Like, that's not where I was happy. And so there are going to be outside voices that are going to be speaking to you that are going to say, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. But we have to seek within. You have to seek your truth. What is it that you want to be doing? And why do you want to be doing it? So get very clear on what that why is. Because when you do that, amazing things are going to happen. So inside of our group here, we have Beth put out, like, I need to work out my why again. Yes, sometimes we do. Sometimes our why was strong enough to get us started, but it's not strong enough to keep us going. And I think that's really an important kind of piece to kind of work out, is that, okay, my why worked when I got started, but it's not strong enough to keep me going. So glad you're here, Lynn. Woot woot. Oh, it looks like it's raining in Florida today. I love it. But in Miami, okay. So hopefully we don't have like any kind of like major storms going on inside of in Florida. Lynn, great question. What was the first point? The first point is actually, any failure that you encounter can actually chip away at your self-confidence and your self-belief, which, yes, leads to mindset, right? Number 2 is, what guarantees you of success is getting up after every fall. Determination and persistence mean that you're going to fight for your dream despite the temptation to give up. And now for the most exciting point, you guys. All right, so I was 4 years in. Tutoring every single day. I had a pretty good business going, but there were these roller coaster moments. Sometimes I had more students and other times I just didn't have that many students. And it just kind of kept crashing down on me, like, okay, well, is this really what I'm meant to do? Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, it was so much easier to get students when I was teaching in the school system than it is now. And if I love teaching so much, maybe I should go back into the school system, because then, it's a lot easier and you got your guaranteed paycheck. You know what you're going to make each year. It's not a surprise at the end of the year, like how much you've made. And I was just kind of going through this personal self-doubt of not only that, but I had started trying to help other tutors on their path, and some were getting results and some weren't. And I felt maybe I'm just not cut out for this. And I had all these negative thoughts that were kind of going in. And you know what the thing is? I just didn't know. I didn't know what my rewards were going to be. I couldn't see so far in the future as to what I have today that could have helped keep me persevering. And that's what I want you guys to really see. So reward number one, there's 3 rewards. Reward number 1 is reaping the fruit of your labor, okay? When you put in time on a consistent and persistent manner, you will reap the rewards over time. Now, some of us, it doesn't come fast enough, right? We wish we could just like reap all those rewards like right now. Why isn't it happening fast enough? But remember, we got to combat those negative thoughts, because we don't sow and reap in the same season. Okay, so you're planting. Right now, you may still be in the sowing season where you're trying to get book solid for the very first time. And then you go through a season where you're trying to get book solid again and again and again. And then you move into the season where you're just reaping all of the time because of all of the hard work that you've put in. And that's exactly the season that I'm in today. So I wish that somebody would have told me, Joanne, you're working really hard now, but it's not always going to be that way. Your students are going to come easily and effortlessly to you. So 10 years in, I want you guys to see what is in place for me now. I don't have the roller coaster anymore. I constantly have an even influx of students that are coming my way. Still being able to get great results with my students, have increased how much I am charging up to $100 an hour to work with kids sometimes as young as 1st and 2nd grade. I want you to see that all of this could be in your future as well, because it's really hard to see that when you're not in that space, right? But it absolutely can help. The second reward, you're going to have confidence in your future. Like I realized today, like one of the biggest things that I realized is if I chose not to do online tutoring, I could start any business online that I wanted to start. Because I was able to be successful with one business, I know that I could take that success and I can apply it to anywhere I go. Like I don't have to just stick to one thing if I don't want to. If I want to add on different pieces of my business, I can. And I'm going to be successful over time. I may experience some failures along the way. I always do. And then from there, though, I know that if I keep persisting, I'm going to have that success. The third reward is you learn more about who you really are. Through this entire process, you guys, you're going to get extreme clarity. Clarity on what you love to do, what you don't love to do. And you're going to get clarity on what type of marketing you like to do. You're going to get clarity on what type of students you like working with. For me, I love working with those younger students versus the adults. I've learned that I don't like working with adults because we don't have that consistency. There's a lot of things fighting for their time and a lot of things fighting for their money. And I don't like to be in the middle of that drama. With kids, the parents, they make the decision that this is going to be important and they're going to follow through with it. I don't like working with high school kids. I don't like working with high school kids because now we start getting into like literature. I'll tell you one thing. I didn't enjoy literature when I was in high school. I certainly don't want to live my life in literature. I love reading like the kids' chapter books and all of that kind of stuff if I'm going to be reading chapter books with students. So being able to now kind of move into some of their deeper thinking and analogies and all this stuff. Ugh, I don't like that side of reading. Like, I really love the beginning stages of like, how do I understand what I'm reading? How do I sound out these words? All of those kinds of things I love working with. And I've got very clear, that's who I want to work with. So now I could be super uber picky when a new client comes my way, because I'd be like, okay, are they the right age? Are they what I like to tutor in? Are they available at a time that's going to work for me? Or are they going to demand that I work a time that wouldn't work for me? And I think that's an amazing reward, that clarity of knowing who you love working with the most. And so I had somebody ask me one time, they said, Joanne, in the Jumpstart program, I really wish that you would add inside of there, what are the different things that people tutor and what are the pros and cons of them each? And I thought, it's all our own journey. You're not going to know those answers by listening to somebody else share what they think the pros and cons are. You're going to gain clarity by saying yes at the beginning to students that you're like, well, maybe I could help in that area. Maybe I could help in that area. You're going to get clarity of, do I enjoy working with people like that? You're going to discover your own pros and cons. So in the beginning, feel free to say yes to whatever you want to say yes to, right? Get clear on what you think you want to tutor. And then your clarity is going to develop over time. That's part of the process. It would be awesome if we just had these answers out of the gate as we got started day one. Like, if I knew exactly that I didn't want to work with adults, I only wanted to work with the younger kids, that I didn't like working with high school students. If I had that clarity from day one, yes, that would have been fantastic. And I would have, saved my time from working with some of the other students. But you know what? At that point in time, I needed the money. So it was okay to say yes. I needed the money and I needed to develop that clarity. And you're going to develop that clarity over time. So the 3 rewards that you guys are going to really reap when you persevere is, you are going to reap the fruit of your labor. You're going to be getting paid more. You're going to have more students that you get to be able to work with. You're going to build your confidence for the future. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, the economy is tanking, therefore I'm not going to be able to have this business anymore. Or, will people want to do online tutoring for the rest of their lives? Probably not. They'll probably want to go back to in-person tutoring as soon as this whole stuff with the pandemic. You're going to have confidence in your future. People are going to still want online tutoring even after the pandemic. And the third thing you're going to reward from is, you're really going to learn more about who you are and what you really enjoy the most. And for some of you, you may discover that tutoring isn't what you enjoy, and that's totally okay. But for those of you that do love being able to do this and work with the students that you love working with, hang out with us. Keep hanging out with us. Make sure you're inside of that ultimate support group for online tutors. Make sure to come join us for these free calls that we do on YouTube each week. We do them on Mondays and Thursdays. Now, on Thursday, we are going to be talking about persevering with blogging. So specifically with creating content. How do I persevere with creating content even when I don't see that people are, coming for my tutoring services right away? How do I persevere in writing content? We've got some winners of our latest blogging challenge. It was a 30-day blogging challenge, and those winners are going to be joining me and sharing how they persevered to be able to write a blog post in a month. So definitely come join us. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to share and celebrate in their success. I want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. You guys are awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see all of you soon. Bye, everyone.